In mosques across the country, today's call to prayer will also signal a call to end domestic violence. A long list of Muslim groups and imams are choosing today to bring attention to family violence. They've also signed a document entitled A Call to Action to Eradicate Domestic Violence. It talks about opposing the use of the word honour when describing family violence. One of the groups that helped to organise the call to action is the Canadian Council on American Islamic Relations. Julia Williams is with the organisation and joins us here in the studio. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Well, it's a pleasure. Now, how openly do people talk about domestic violence within the Muslim community?
I think that it's a discussion that's being had more and more frequently. I think part of the reason behind this call to action is that we need to have a bit of a revolution of consciousness inside the community where it is part of the general and common discourse in the community to speak about these issues openly and more often. So it is spoken about, but it needs to happen more, and that was part of the impetus for this call.
So what's happening today then?
So today, a bunch of imams have signed on to address the issue of domestic violence and violence against women in their Friday sermons. And this is a huge step forward.
Can you tell me how that works exactly? Because I've been into mosques before around the world, and usually the men and the women are separate. So are the imams, are they speaking to the men or are they speaking to the women?
They're speaking to both. It depends on which mosque you go to in terms of the setup. So they're speaking to the entire congregation. But of course, the important message that we want to send, of course, to everyone, but to men in particular.
So what kinds of things are they going to be saying? What's the message going to be?
The message is that violence against women, domestic violence, is 100% unacceptable within the faith of Islam. And if there's any question or doubt in anyone's mind, that needs to be eradicated.
Of course, it's a pretty timely topic right now with the Shafia trial going on at the moment in Kingston, where a Muslim man is accused of killing his first wife and 3 teenage daughters. That's being referred to as an honour killing. You want to oppose this term?
I think the message in the call to action is that we don't want people within Muslim communities using the term honour to refer to these types of killings in the sense that there is no honor in this type of action. It's not so much an opposition to media terming it that way or whatnot. It's more creating that understanding within the community that we don't associate honor with these types of crimes.
That must be a difficult task in a way, because a lot of people, if they've come over, that's kind of part of their, not necessarily the word may not evoke a lot, but if that's what they've been led to believe or kind of schooled with in their home country, that must be a hard message to preach.
Well, it's very difficult to generalize and say, people coming from other countries have this notion.
Sure, and that's not what I was implying. But,
So you'll get all types, but definitely, as I said, there needs to be this revolution of consciousness within Muslim communities, both new Canadians and born Canadians, to make sure that this message is heard loud and clear.
What difference do you think that these imams might make?
I think it'll make a huge difference. It's a great starting point. Friday prayers are obligatory for Muslim men, and the message needs to be getting to the men. I think it's the first step, and many more steps need to come after that. Like I said, I think there needs to be a shift in consciousness, and it needs to begin with a firm, solid message that this is unacceptable.
Julia, do you mind if I ask you about your own personal story and how you got involved in this? Because, for listeners who can't see you, you're white and you're wearing the hijab. But what's your story?
I came to Islam about 10 years ago. After high school, I had done some traveling, as lots of kids do after high school, and my own personal sort of exploration with religion and spirituality, and Islam really worked for me, and that's how I came into the religion.
And you seem quite passionate about this day in particular.
It's incredibly important. I love my faith incredibly, and it's sad when you see these types of behaviors happening within the community, and you know that this is not the heart and spirit of the faith. So it's important that the leaders of our community, the spiritual leaders in the form of the imams and others, step forward and say, we understand that this is not part of our faith, and we need to know that the community understands this as well. It needs to be loud and clear.
As a newcomer to this city, I'm learning lots about how the city is working. I had an interview this week with the Canada-China News to talk a lot about the Chinese community here in Ottawa. Tell me something about the Muslim community here in Ottawa.
Well, it's quite diverse. I always like to say Muslim communities because there isn't just one in Ottawa or across Canada. Many different, ethnic backgrounds, cultural backgrounds, people born in this country, people who have newly arrived as either, economic migrants or refugees. So just incredibly diverse.
Wonderful. Nice to meet you.
It's wonderful to be here. Thank you so much for bringing attention to the issue.
That's all right. Thank you very much. Julia Williams is with the Canadian Council on American Islamic Relations.